Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another videos? Another paid request, this time for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that, and for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, re-reviews. Usually PayPal is the best, and those links are down below in the info box, or you can join my Patreon. Both links are down below. Pretty much any of these videos. Now, you wanted me to talk about Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween, which came out around 2018. It's like a 5.6 or so on IMDb. And kind of came and went like the wind, and I could see why. Because number one, I don't think I've seen the first Goosebumps movie. I know Jack Black was in it as the author R.L. Stine. I know it played a bit like Jumanji with Goosebumps characters. Jack Black is in this as well, but he's a small extended cameo. I don't think any of the other people from the first is in this, other than that. And I'm watching this movie, and I don't know if this would be a rant or not, where I didn't really care much for it, but it was harmless. You know, you watch those movies, it's 90 minutes long, so it's pretty short. There's a couple scenes and ideas I didn't mind. The three lead kid actors, they're serviceable. I mean, I'd rather watch this than Hocus Pocus 2. But at the same time, I'm sitting here watching this going, you could just go watch Gremlins, you just go watch Jumanji with Robin Williams. There's a lot of movies of this nature, even, Eight-Legged Freaks, where it's more comedic or more family-friendly, or if family-friendly is the wrong word, then we're in a town, gets overrun by these creatures, and what are we going to do is up to a certain amount of characters. I mean, we've seen that done many times before. I don't recognize the actors other than the mom is Wendi, I forget her last name. Remember Reno 911? If you watch that show, the blonde lady with the big milk suckers? Deputy Clementine was her character's name. She's in this as the mom. Ken Jeong from The Hangover is the neighbor. Thank God he's not in it that much, because he's nails on a chalkboard. I'm like, can it just be Bobby Lee or someone else, man? The story, you have Deputy Clementine, I can't remember, Wendi. She's the mom, she's working. She asks her daughter to stay and watch her little brother, who's working on a science experiment. A buddy of his comes by and stays there because his parents are leaving, so it's the three of them. The girl's like, hey, I'm going to meet my boyfriend, this guy I like, at this rave party. And this is where I'm looking at the acting. I'm like, okay, it's meh. I mean, not bad. Not awesome. Serviceable. They were serviceable in acting, to be fair. They were serviceable. It was fine. It was fine with the acting. The three characters were fine. But not that I'm going to be... I think the daughter was one of the younger kids in the Jumanji Next Level and Welcome to the Jungle. I believe it was her. That then went in and were the avatars. I think she was one of the kids. She wants to get into Columbia. She wants to leave this town. When she went to the rave concert, I said party, but concert, I was literally sitting there going, I wonder if they're going to do that thing where and before I said it, it happened. You know how movies where the person comes in to find their guy, and then she goes towards it, and before she gets there, the guy's like turns around and a girl comes and he's with another person. I'm like, really? This is like a movie from 2018, and this is stuff I saw done better in films like Adventures in Babysitting and other films. Like, come on. Cliche, predictable. Doesn't really have much wit, or wow, that was really clever. Meanwhile, the two kids, the two boys, they rummage through this place to find stuff to sell. They find this book, and they open up the book, there's nothing in it, and then they turn and there's Slappy the ventriloquist doll, which he's very much in the Goosebumps pantheon. Now, Goosebumps, the books, I didn't grow up reading. I knew of them. I did see a few episodes of the TV show, The Haunted Mask, Part 1 and 2, which I didn't mind. Like I said, I don't think I've seen the previous film, but it didn't seem like it was for me. Didn't seem I would be a fan of, because I'm like, this is Jumanji, but with the Goosebumps characters. Okay, whatever. At the very least, I'd be indifferent on it. Kind of like this. I'm indifferent on it. It didn't make me mad. It was short enough and fast-paced enough that I wasn't too bored. Like I said, I'd rather watch this than Hocus Pocus 2. But I'd rather watch Hocus Pocus 1 than this. There's another one, Hocus Pocus, you can watch over this. But, what the hell? Oh, the two boys, they find the doll. Bullies pick on them. Slappy, without them knowing, he keeps making the bullies' pants fall down repeatedly. And granted, the humor's inoffensive. There wasn't a lot of, like, dick jokes, fart jokes, puke jokes. Like, there wasn't really a lot of that. So I can appreciate that. They get away from the bullies. They find out the doll is alive and at first wants to be their friend and do their homework. And you're like, okay, this is more of a Slappy, which it is. He's the main villain. But he's trying to be nice at first because he wants a family. I'm like, well, if I want to see that, I'll watch the Child's Play remake, which I liked more than this. Despite Aubrey Plaza doing a great impression of a wooden plank, I still like the Child's Play remake. But there are moments I did enjoy. Like the kids have these two Street Fighter figures. He turns them alive, and the camera has the two figures here, and they're fighting back and forth, and the camera is still in like a video game, like Street Fighter 2 on the side. It's using the music from Street Fighter 2. Dun, 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 dun. And the sound effects are the same. Hoyutin, Hoyutin. And when he did that, what was that? Flying, spinning kick. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. That was fun to see. That took me back to playing Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo a lot. So that was cool. When things go haywire and Slappy is turning the Halloween decorations into monsters. And then just this thing turns the whole town into monsters, the decorations and stuff. There's a bit where the two boys are attacked by gummy bears. That was kind of charming. Like gummy bears being villains, and they go on top of each other to get bigger. And then they're able to be like the Blob. So they're attacking it, but then they can try to consume it like the Blob. Like, that was kind of cool. That was an interesting take on gummy bears I haven't seen before. I wish there was more creativity like that, though. The only other thing I can mention that I liked was these pumpkins that they had before. One, he put a helmet on. One of the boys put a helmet. And so, because that, it's like a military guy, and he's shooting these pumpkin seeds. I guess the other pumpkin they had messed up in carving. So, he's talking like, "Hey, how's it going? Happy Easter." That did make me chuckle a little bit. Although, to be honest, it would have been interesting if that became an ally to help them, because he doesn't know any better. I think that kind of would have been funny and cool if he kept with them because he was too stupid that he didn't realize he was supposed to be evil. So he's like, okay, I'll be good. Like that would have been kind of funny. Maybe that could have been a fun running gag where he's following them and helping them out or trying to help them out. But no, they took him out quick. The voice of Slappy the doll, I guess in the previous film it was voiced by Jack Black, but here it's a different person. I thought at first it was Mark Hamill. Like, there were times I'm like, is that Mark Hamill? But it's not. Wouldn't be the first time he did the Child's Play remake at Chucky doll, but it's not him. Sometimes it sounded like him, though. And, like, the first half is the Slappy movie. He's doing some stuff here and there. He messes with the girl's two-timing boyfriend, makes him fall off a ladder. They try to bury it, but he comes back. Again, the characters, you've seen this done dozens of times. The girl realizing that her family means more to her than she realized. Really, there's nothing else to the other characters. They're just there for the ride. Like I said, it's just nothing that is remarkable or memorable or you're going to register a month from now. The look of the creatures at times are pretty decent. There's some practical being used. I like the way they made Slappy the ventriloquist doll look. I thought that was pretty decent effects work. Even some of the monsters, like jack-o'-lantern monsters and stuff. There's this spire that was made out of balloons, and it starts like... The effects were pretty decent compared to other movies. I'll give you that. So, and that's the thing. It's not like this film made me mad or angry. It didn't overstay its welcome. The three were typical characters, but they were not ones that made me rage and angry. Like, oh, these... It didn't force any politics into it. Didn't force any, wokeism into it. Like I said, it didn't force any stupid, fart humor jokes into it. At least that I remember. If it did, it went so fast I don't remember it. Like I say, it's a harmless movie. The monsters out of the decorations. They try to do the haunted mask, but pretty pithy. It affects an employee, and it becomes like an older version of Igor to Slappy's Frankenstein. Yes, master. So I'm like, okay, that's how you do the haunted mask? Okay. Ineffective, but harmless. I think is the best way to describe this film. Like a 5.6, I mean, I would give it a little bit lower, but at the same time, there's much worse movies. I guess if it's Halloween season, or I guess any season, and you're with your kids, if you have kids and you want to sit down for 90 minutes and they get some enjoyment out of it, I guess you could watch this with that. Or if you're a diehard Goosebumps fan, I'm not, because I knew of them, but I didn't read much of them. I don't know, because there's more about the Halloween decoration creatures than actual Goosebumps creatures. Well, there's a few of them. There's a couple of them. But also follows that theme where, from what I understand, a lot of fans wanted Goosebumps to be like an anthology movie where they replicate the stories. Like, do the stories in like an... Imagine Creep Show for kids. And you should do that. You could do a Creep Show for kids. Where you take like 3 or 4 of the popular Goosebumps books and do... I mean, I don't know if they'd have enough time, I guess, to do effectively, but to see those stories replicated into a live-action form. But I guess that's what the TV show was for. That's what people argue. People argue, well, that's what the TV show is for. But, maybe people want to see it with a big-budget theatrical talents. But instead, they said, take the name and make a little bit of a Jumanji thing. Which is funny, I mentioned the Jumanji... Jack Black was in the sequels. Welcome to the Jungle, The Next Level. As I said, Jack Black returns as a R.L. Stine author, but he comes in like the hour and 9-minute mark. And they try to make the joke where he's racing to help him, but he gets there, it's too late, and everything's done. So he's not needed anymore. I get the potential of that joke. It's just, I don't know. I'm sure it's funnier on paper. I mean, even the ending just seemed pretty lackluster. It's, spoiler alert, Slappy uses his big Tesla thing to try to infect more and more of the land to create more monsters. The 2 kids are on the ground trying to overload it, but they don't really go through any obstacles from what I remember. Like them have to team up and fight the monsters, fight the creatures. No, not really. It's just, yeah, overload it. And then they're overloading it. And the girl is up top. Pretty much, they're slappy. Gives him the wrong book. Dodges a bit of the balloon spider, and then, kicks the doll, the dummy, into being fried. I didn't feel like there was much headache-inducing for the characters' trials for them to go through at the end. It just seemed like they won pretty easily at the end of the film. And that's the thing, I didn't feel like throughout the film, I mean, there's a bit where a ghost takes a book and the girl's hanging on to it. That's one of the reasons I liked the gummy bear thing, because that was interesting and I had not seen that before. But I feel like with all these creatures and monsters, there should have been a lot more of the kids dealing with each of these monsters, dealing with each of these creatures. When they have the book, they capture a couple of them in the book, like a skeleton and this other thing, a little bit, but not too much. But I felt like now that the book's gone, okay, now they gotta really go toe-to-toe with these monsters and creatures and fight through them and fight their way to this thing. Nah. Ken Jeong gets them in, gives them some costumes, they walk out, they all buy it, they just walk through to the end game, and the ending that happens. I'm like, wow, that was kind of mundane. That was kind of easy. The music I don't remember, so whether that's good or bad. I did the acting. Not gonna win any awards. That's for me. It's a movie that if you watch when you're bored, or you're the diehard Goosebumps fan, or you want to see anything remotely like Gremlins, Jumanji, all that stuff, or you need to see every single thing Jack Black's in, even though he's in it for 5 minutes. I don't think you don't remember this, though. Again, in a week or less than a month from now. But is it harmless? Sure, it's harmless. But it didn't make me mad, didn't make me angry, but indifferent. Indifferent is the name of the game. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, 1 second. One thing. The ending, the very end. Spoilers on that. Jack Black gets back, and he's playing R.L. Stine. And they leave room for a third one, and this film didn't do that well, so I doubt it's going to get a third one, so they just left everything in such a cliffhanger for those who are fans of these movies. The ventriloquist doll somehow is still alive, even though he was central where everything was being sucked in. So how is it he's the one that didn't get sucked in? They don't really explain it. And then he puts Jack Black into a book. And then the movie ends. And I'm like, well, there's probably not going to be a third one. So you just screwed over the audience that might have even... If you had all liked Jack Black and R.L. Stine, well, he's trapped in a book now. And they're not going to make a sequel. So he's trapped there forever. Such to be you. But with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.